Ladies, gentlemen, and young ladies, we have the impression that Ukraine has started to hide some from us information. Yes, and it is now that we come across the information. Through local media, we understand why Ukraine decided to take revenge in trying to strike in an exaggerated way the Russian capital Moscow, which we have spoken earlier. Yes, already Ukraine spent a magical night. You see, that is to say so much that they are tired of always being to lament, to cry. Finally, Ukraine is keeping quiet about some information. And it took some time after that for local media, such as that Independent Ukraine and others, release the information of what happened spent the night, because Russia apparently only works the night. Yes, that is to say the evil blessings, the cursed blessings fall upon Ukraine the night. I want to talk about the rains of missiles and drones. Last night, Ukraine was in fire again. I swear to you that the images, I can't display them. No, I can't, because if I try, it would be something else. Russia started a new strategy, at account of which it does not deploy too many drones and missiles. But when it restricts the number, it focuses on territories well-defined cities. And Russia strikes without precedent, and that crying, running around in all directions. It is this spirit of vengeance which has therefore pushed Lucre to the time. When I say Lucre in time, understand, I created this French that does not exist to call this god of Ukraine and NATO. This is what pushed Ukraine as much as seeking revenge. Unfortunately, it was a failure. Very stinging. They failed to strike Moscow. The drones were eliminated before even arriving in Moscow. They were eliminated on the outskirts, even if this forced Moscow to activate, to trigger the carpet plan. 141 Russian drones were launched. Cities were hit. That is to say, it is a massive offensive and extremely well coordinated. So it was on the night of the 21st, as of September 22, 2025, the Ukrainian army itself announced having had to intercept 132 drones. You know, he always decreases the number. Russia launched 141 drones. They say they have intercepted 139, but 9 crossed the defense, and these 9 caused damage majors. We will stick to their own statement. When Russia launches, it don't speak. The types of drones that have been used, these are the Shahed 136 models, 131. Yes, you know the type of drone Shahed, which Russia likes to use a lot. These are the drones 131, Shah 131. But this time they did combine strikes with types of drones, since for each type of anti-aircraft defense system, there are drones that they are capable of to stop and other drones not. So Russia mixes everything with baseman and then Russia sends. So the drones were launched in SM. That means it was launched as a group to saturate radars and defense Ukrainian anti-aircraft. So cities were struck, regions were directly targeted. In the Zaporizhzhia region, 3 civilians were killed, were sent to eternal rest. 2 were injured. There was the destruction of 15 residential buildings. The conflict was at a level where we talk more about distinction. I won't repeat myself too much, but as we have new people who meet us, join us every time platforms, the conflict reaches a level where there is more distinction between civilian and military property. This just hits anyhow. 10 private houses were destroyed. Several administrative buildings and commercials were completely destroyed. And definitely, do you understand? 15 buildings, we're talking residential buildings. 15 were destroyed, yes. You understand anyway. It's Ukraine that speaks like that. But when Ukraine says there was no enough victims, there were only 3. Well, imagine, we're talking to you about 15 residential buildings. So these buildings are inhabited, right? So when these buildings were destroyed, according to the announcement made by Ukraine, that means it is the building and its contents. Obviously, that's in Zaporizhzhia. 10 private houses were destroyed. Several administrative buildings and commercial buildings were destroyed. But we are told that there were 3 civilians and 2 injured. I don't know if you understand this. Ukraine so much that these things on Ukraine hides the numbers. Ukraine is hiding the numbers. This is what that I would like to say. So that was to Zaporizhzhia. to be submitted in the northeast. There have been attacks on houses and local infrastructure. Had confirmed material damage without official human toll. There was no of official human toll. It is not known if they are in the withholding information, and that looks a lot more like this. But listen, where you are told that there were attacks on houses, therefore private, that necessarily means there was from sending to eternal rest. In the Kiev region, one person was injured, windows were broken, blown, and fires started by debris of drones shot down. Yes, in the region from Kiev, it's hot. It was rather hot last night. Other regions have been mentioned, such as Poltava. Tchiani were also placed on alert aerial throughout the night. Ukrainians no longer sleep. Every night, these are the sirens. Alert maximum. So, what should be noted is that the balance sheet human is battery. Total confirmed by the authorities, Ukrainians, I was going to say. We have witnessed at least 4 deaths and several injured between Zaporizhzhia and Kiev. Civil infrastructure, particularly injured, housing, businesses, electric pumping installations have been destroyed. Rescue teams, Ukrainians, worked all night to extinguish fires and clear the rubble. So obviously the immediate response and the local disturbances occur characterized by what? In several towns, residents spent the night in the shelters as the sirens sounded continuously all night. In the capital, Kiev, authorities have temporarily suspended traffic railway on certain lines for secure passengers. And in the Sumy region, schools do not have open in the morning, even as a precaution security. So here is the situation that Ukraine lived last night, and who therefore pushed Ukraine as much to pass to action this morning in Moscow. Unfortunately, it was a failure. Burning. And so ladies and gentlemen, that was it, the headlines of international news. Thank you, so I will come back to you soon, the time with new information. It was the voice of your servant Samurai.